Okay, welcome to the Power Couples Hangout.
I'm Mike.
And you're in the right place. This is a hangout where we talk about working together as couples in our online businesses, and we talk about success strategy, mindset, and we're really glad you're here. We have an amazing guest power couple tonight. But first, I'd like to introduce our co-power couple, Bren and Felicia White. Hey.
Glad to be here again.
Good to see you guys. And we are so honored and thrilled to have our guest power couple joining us tonight. This is a couple that really needs no introduction in our community, but for those of you that may not know them, both literally and figuratively. And they've gone from living in a basement 5 years ago to be earners in the internet marketing industry. They're branding and social media superstars and award-winning bloggers. We'd like to welcome Toby and Layla Black. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how are you doing? Hello.
Us and you'd be like, really? They know that. You know, we just are who we are, and I think that's the cool things that you learn in this journey is to really embrace who you are, and that's all part of the secret sauce that we're gonna share with you guys tonight.
Yeah, when we out like this, we'd be dressed to the nines, looking very formal, thinking it was something that we had to do because if you want to make money, if you want to be a business owner, you have to
look a certain
way, right? You have to dress a certain way. Well, maybe in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s, but even in big business and corporate world today, like huge companies, billion-dollar companies, marketing in different areas, from guys and girls who dress weird, who have tattoos, who live a different lifestyle, don't conform to that. There's nothing wrong with that, not bashing it at all. It's just not expected now, not from how it's viewed, but what it actually is, which is really rad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
right.
And being able to be yourself, and you guys are so good and so natural at being able to yourself out there and be authentic, and you make it so easy. I love that. And for people kind of starting out, are brand new, and a lot of people will ask us questions about what steps should I take to put yourself out there and to brand yourself. And like I said, you guys make it look so easy. Was it a natural process for you to be able to do videos and put yourself out there and be authentic? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's no such thing to me as a natural process, because when we come out of our mommies, there's nothing that we're already encoded to do, right? Well, love, we're encoded to learn, but we're not encoded to know how to play basketball. We don't already know how to play or write a song. We don't already know how to do anything. That couple of things, right? Love and what
we don't even know how to walk.
All right, we don't even know how to walk. So there's no natural way. There's just, what did I just say? There's no natural way to going at it with a natural feeling that no matter what happens, whether you fail at it 10 times, 1,000 times, 10,000 times, it doesn't matter, because you're just learning to get to the next step. So Layla was totally right on what she just said about when we don't even know how to walk when we're babies and toddlers, but then we fearlessly attack learning how to walk. So we just took the same mentality of learning how to walk as babies to learning how to do this business, learning how to brand ourselves, learning how to use personality marketing through social media to generate an audience and then market stuff that audience wants to make money. So it wasn't natural to us. We used to cut the camera on and it would take 10 or 15 takes or times. It wouldn't make the cut and we'd do it again.
Maybe like 30 minutes long.
I know, and they'd be sweating and mumbling and we'd have to do it again because one of us, probably me, made a mistake in what I said. And then 5 years later, mistakes are still happening. Those weird things that sometimes don't even make sense, but the way you say them influences people because it's your energy and your tonality. We just roll with them because in the beginning, like being authentic was being hidden behind. We were coming from an authentic place. We're obviously coming from a genuine place of love and wanting to do good for ourselves and others. But because we're so in our head space, thinking about what do I look like, what am I saying, is this the right thing, what will people think, do I look good? All of the BS was sheltering, was trapping down, condensing, compressing our genuineness. So it's when you really go within, become self-aware, and get rid of the BS, rid of what Layla calls the mean girls, or the mean guys in your head, and just say, you know what, if I look like an idiot when I'm on camera, but I'm saying something meaningful, who cares? If I mumble by mistake, who cares? It doesn't matter. When you're being genuine, people really accept that, and that's when you start to have an impact with someone watching or reading your stuff.
Yeah, right.
Nothing to follow up?
Yeah, no, that's totally it. And sometimes he just makes me speechless, and I have these moments where I'm in awe. I'm like, that's Toby Black. And, you know, it's so funny because some of his Scottish friends have been adding him on Facebook, and, you know, they're watching his videos, and they've known him when he was Toby Black, you know, kicked out of different schools, driving cars through windows, all of the above. Having a great time.
Developing.
In his youth. And they see and they watch and they hear what he has to share, and it just moves me. So I was a little bit speechless.
Thanks, babe.
Oh, so
So really, to take away from that couple of minute ramble that Layla and I just had, nothing is natural when it comes to a new skill set. Yes, some people learn things quicker, but at going through the failures, the mistakes, the trial and error, in order to figure out the way that works for you, so you can work it every day. Successful. So no matter what avenue you take in marketing or in life, when it's something brand new, just like when you go to the gym for the first time, just like when you pick up the guitar for the first time, just for the first time you learn English if you're from a different country, or when you're a kid, when you go to wherever, when you learn that brand new skill set, yes, it's difficult, yes, it's unnatural, yes, it's new, but that doesn't mean that it's impossible. It means it's totally possible, and if you're willing and able enough to be the fiery lion or lioness, adventure-driven entrepreneur, doesn't really matter what comes across your way, you'll just devour it and get to the other side where results are just waiting for you.
Yeah, I remember
That's downstairs letting us know that he can heal.
Yeah, I'm going to start. She's sitting down here.
We did a hangout years ago, and it was a huge one. It was when we were joining another company, so we're launching it, and Gordy was like relentless, barking, and then 2 or 3 other people who were on the hangout with us, their dogs started barking, and for like 15 minutes, it was terrible. We made it on something funny, like all our dogs were, they're here on the hangout with us, but really there was probably hundreds of people watching, going, shut those things down. Business, don't listen to what's that, Lady and the Tramp?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just weird funniness that happens of being a home business owner.
This isn't a question that I had planned on asking you guys, but you reminded me of, you're talking about caring what other people think, and your meditation that you did from stage in Vegas, I thought was really beautiful, and I wondered if you use meditation kind of related to what you're talking about, and just kind of getting to that space where you can not care so much about what other people think, and be able to do what you do. Does meditation play a part in that? Yeah,
absolutely. When, for all of us, it's more like a clearing of your mind. And for me, meditation has really allowed me to take that objective awareness about what's happening. So maybe that fear, and constantly we're still working on our fears, and we're still understanding them and exploring them, and new ones are created. But when you can really dive in and you see it from that objective third party, you take away everything that makes powerful over you, and you fully understand it. I call it like being like Neo from the Matrix, and you can't get to that place if your mind is cluttered with all of that noise and
Crap,
all of that
shit,
crap that you're
crud,
hearing every day, that people talk
fuzz,
about, that your friends are talking about, that your family's talking about, you know, all of the BS.
the noise.
The noise. So meditation has been totally, it's like we would not be who we are. We would not be where we are if we weren't able to get in touch with that mind, body, soul moment.
Because we are all human beings as we develop through life. We have our own, obviously, perspective. We have our own reality, and we have extreme power in our mind that we can utilize. But because of growing up, schooling, environment, parents, community, that gets suppressed because we end up starting to operate our life through the noise of other people and the noise of who we think we should be for other people, not operating from a place of, I'm going to do this because I love it. I'm going to do it because it makes me happy. I'm going to do it because I want to do it. Think about when you, now I can hear Beatrice downstairs running around Nan and her Opa, and she is 15 months, and she's doing everything every day in every moment that she wants to do. If she wants to put her finger near a socket when she knows she's not supposed to, she does it. If she wants to smash something on the floor, if she wants to do something, if she wants to have a hug, a kiss, if she runs around screaming, which she's starting to do, which I love, I think it's amazing, she'll do it. So if we, and if adults could operate the same way, running around screaming all the time, no, I'm just kidding, but operating every day out of want, out of desire, out of being and immediately doing it and impacting your life like that, where would you be? What would you be doing? How amazing would your life look? Would it look the same? Would it look different? These are the kind of questions that you can get to when you clear out all the shit. When you start to meditate, when you start to take time every day and do, it doesn't have to be meditation in the beginning, but you should definitely visualize and meditate. But if you start to do things daily that fulfill you, you have a different energy. I'm not saying right now if you're a mom or a dad or a single parent or you're solo but you have responsibilities, you have bills and whatnot, I'm not telling you to just quit your job, start meditating and everything's going to be all right. No, not at all. You need to have a short-term goal, your job, or maybe you own another business. You need to have something in place right now that you can work at diligently to pay the bills, and then do that a little bit extra with your home business, with your online business. So one day that online business takes away from that short-term thing that you were working. You're working 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week on your online business. You're making the money that you need or want to survive and more. Then the space that you now have, the freedom you now have, what would you do with that then? Then it becomes bigger, right? Then it becomes huge. It's like, who can I impact? Yeah. How can I change lives? Yeah. And when you start to think on that bigger scale, things open up for you. Aside, back to you talking about meditation, on my Facebook newsfeed last week, a cool video, viral video came up of these monks, Shaolin monks, who were doing demonstrations for global TV. And they were in there videotaping them meditating for 10 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours a day, right? And then they were filming them doing things that science done. And they're able to do that because when you focus daily over 90 days in a long period of time, you change your DNA. So they were actually able to be cut with knives and not bleed. They would drill. A drill was put to this guy's head and turned on, and you obviously, to you or I right now, it would just chew up our head and kill us. A drill was going into this guy's head, not cutting him and not piercing the skin. The guy there was 2 guys that were, there's only 2 people in the entire world able to do this move, and they're both monks, where they can, it's like a yoga move where you go down on a crane, and then on your fingertips, and then just on 2 fingers, be able to do a handstand and do push-ups on 2 fingers. Anybody else would shatter our fingers and completely break the bones in our fingers, but they're able to do that. Now, are they naturally gifted, like we were talking about in the beginning? Are they naturally able to do that? No. Have they been able to train in their body to align to do that? Yeah. Through meditation, through visualization, and through consistent daily action over 90 days. So while you're sitting there at home wondering if you can get your capture page up and generate traffic, If you just focused your energy, your business, that would become obsolete, and now you'd be sponsoring 2 to 5, 10 people a week. You'd be making the money that you want, and you'd be thinking bigger and past that because you're focusing your energy on the right place rather than the lack of what you don't have.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good advice. I needed to hear to practice it and be dedicated to doing that every day. It's so powerful. And I'm going to go ahead and...
That's scary. Our masturbate.
And, you have some questions for Toby and Layla?
Sure. What would you say is your biggest temporary defeat along your path to success?
Defeat?
You know, it's interesting because everything that we have experienced, good or bad, and we have experienced bad, is really a part of where we are right now. So it's like defeat? No, we got up. There was no defeat along the way. There were obstacles. There were breakdowns. There were, you know, just moments where everything seemed to be going wrong. I mean, if that could definitely be along the same lines, but definitely defeat. You really learning and growing and changing your DNA. It is difficult, and you are going to hit roadblocks, and you are going to have days where you delete your entire blog, and
your whole timeline's taken from you,
or you know your company shuts down, or your company.
So you have to put the right link in a campaign. You spend $2,000 on traffic, and it doesn't even come to your link. But what was the recording is when you asked us that question. It was Brian that asked the question, right?
Yeah. When
Brian asked the question, Layla and I paused and couldn't think of a time. If you'd have asked us that question before we went through this enlightened journey on becoming the best version of us, and you'd asked us to recite a negative time in our life,
we could probably give you lots.
Yeah, we could have listed unbelievable amount of negative influences and defeats in our life.
Because we were holding on to them.
That's what we were focusing on. So now when you ask us something negative, it's like, oh, I can't even think of one. But you ask us, what was your biggest win? What was your biggest achievement? They'll come out like that. So please be aware that that is a little training within this training. That when you focus on when you change your focus, reframe of leads, lack of, that's what you're going to get more of. When you focus on ways to make that better, and you consistently focus on the ways to make it better, mind just adapts that way of living and operating, and then lo and behold, you get a live event or any coaching, and we ask people to recite things about negative things in their past. They can give you a list longer than the longest grocery list you've ever seen in your life. But if you ask them happy about it, successful about it, it's like a ones and twosy thing, and they have to think about it. Why? Because it's so easy to think of the negative, where if you just shift it and make everything that's negative hard to think about, and positive comes right away, you get more positive stuff.
It is someone out there who doesn't have a supportive spouse or significant other. What would you say to them?
I think I work with a lot of women out there that are building their business, and maybe their husband is working full-time at a job and doesn't really understand what they're doing, or doesn't really support what they're doing, and you know, they ask, well, you know, what's your advice for me? And for one, usually if there's some sort of so usually one of the main problems that exists is that you haven't clearly communicated to the people that you love in your life exactly why you're doing what you're doing, or even
what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Some of them don't. Some of them just see going away for hours on end in the computer, and you go, what the fuck are they doing on that thing? Like, all of it resolved by them just sitting down, like Layla's saying, and saying, hey, when I go on the computer, this is what I'm doing. This is actually where I'm at. This is actually what I'm working on. I'm not just sitting in there like an idiot, trolling all over the internet, doing pointless things. And then on a deeper level, like Layla was talking about, sit down and clearly communicate why you're doing it. That's even more important, right, babe?
Yeah, I think that when they, because sometimes they just won't understand what you're doing. They're like, oh, well, you know,
Facebook,
maybe they don't
pages.
Maybe they don't even want to hear that. You know, maybe they're so negative. And I've run into some spouses that were so negative
Right to other spouses? What are you talking about? How many spouses do you got?
You know, and they don't want to hear that. So they don't understand it. They can't try and change people around you. Don't try and make them see things the way that you can do is do this for yourself. Understand that you are the change that you are trying to create in them.
Anybody else feeling it?
It really causes a lot of tension when you try and change someone. So you have to understand that, okay, this is how the situation is. I have to create the results. I have to be focused for 90 days. I have to change my DNA and show them that this is something that I was meant to do. This is part of my destiny. This is part of my purpose on this planet.
And if the significant other, once you have clearly communicate the passion and purpose behind what you're doing, clearly identify to them and show them this is for our family, and they still don't get on board with that, that's when there's maybe some major changes having to happen. And we've seen firsthand, worked with, helped, and assisted, ended up leaving their spouse and moving away and being single and having to do it for the struggle, but being finally free, finally relieved, finally open. And then we've also seen spouses who have hit that wall, who have worked through it and been able to, I remember one couple when we did a seminar in maybe Houston, somewhere, and the spouse came, but she was the epitome of negative Nancy, right? She was not loving it. She thought starting to break her down. And then I did a one-on-two, I guess, because it was both of them, speaking with them and helping them communicate. And the spouse hadn't communicated clearly with her partner why it was she was doing it. Once she did, the partner was still like, well, I don't see that's where it's going to impact our future. So I helped them break it down on an even simpler level to see how much it was affecting her positively, the woman who was actually actively doing it, that even if money didn't come, even if success didn't come and the cars and the houses and blah, 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 look at how much, how better a person she is to your relationship, to your life, to your children's life, when she's doing this business. And it was when the money was put aside and it was just focused on how much of a better person she would be as a spouse and as a parent and as a person. It was like, okay, so all she did was shift her focus off the material things onto wanting the best for her spouse and her family. And it was like they left like skipping down the hallway.
Hilarious. That's awesome. So how do you guys while you're working together? Like, what are your strengths and your weaknesses? Or
Layla does everything. I sometimes get on camera and look all rugged and silly, and then I play my guitar.
wow.
No, it's really been a process to understand what your skills are,
what you're willing to do.
Yeah, what you're able to when you have
I
a
don't like it, but you're still good.
Giant beach belly. Toby doesn't really let me get away with that. I can't do it. He always is like, yeah, no.
Yeah, it doesn't fly.
No.
Can you do this for me? Because I can't do it.
I can't do it. Can you make me this PDA thing? I can't do it. He's like, no. Yeah, you can. It's good to have a partner that keeps you accountable and that can recognize you're playing into your little pre-programmed conditionings. So that's really important. But also having the dynamic and understanding that, I know that Toby's good at some things that I'm not. And it's interesting because some of our team members respond better to Toby's style of for my entire life, and he basically was yelling at her the whole time. Whereas I kind of think like this softer approach, and this woman did not need the softer approach. She needed the Toby Black iron fist
in the velvet glove.
Yeah, and just understanding that some people are going to respond better, some people are going to connect with one or the other. And some people, when you're working with other couples, you get this really awesome, cool dynamic that's like,
outgoing A-type personality, and the wife is the brains. the looks, the brains, and the mastermind. mind that my husband's just breaking down walls to me.
That's
Josh and Margot Trembluzzi. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's French Canadian.
The Tans are like they own property.
Yeah, and that's a great Lawrence and Jessica Tam, right? So years ago it was Lawrence Tam, right? That was the brand, and then slowly over the Jessica coming to events and getting around everybody and getting enthralled in the business. Now Jessica is on the back end mostly, but then on social media too, and that's been a huge breakthrough for Lawrence. Obviously, he comes from a very traditional, I hope it's Mandarin, pretty sure it is, Asianese family where the men do the work and the wife looks after the kids in the house, and that's cool. He's all about that, and that's awesome. But Jessica's actually doing more than that now, and doing things in the back end and on social. So that's a really cool power couple that started with one being out front and then both leading. And when Layla and I first got started, it was Layla that was doing the home business. When we first got started in Monavie 10,000 years ago, it was Layla who flew out to, where'd you fly to again?
Utah.
Baby. And I came home with my dad, and Layla went, and she was going to do the business by herself, and I was going to go get a job. And then I don't even know how it decided that I was going to do it too, but then it was just like...
Well, I think people, we brought them to some meetings, and then they're like, oh, yeah.
You just got to do it?
Yeah. He's got that way.
Wasn't good like this, though. They would have said, boyfriend at home, please. He's making people not want to come back.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cuteness,
He's so adorable.
He's in my dad's office.
Cuteness.
Oh, gosh.
I know, but that's all. Your dad still has it here, like, because he always messes that Layla. Sorry, taking an overdrive right now. Two big things.
Let's get some more questions in, and then maybe.
I got you, Bren and Mike.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go?
Okay, sure. Let's see here. So if you were back in time, so for instance, say you are back in the days when you're back in your basement 5 years ago, whatever it was, you send back in time to your past.
Everybody that's an online marketer on here, use time machine questions in your email follow-up. Have emails going out to your leads saying, if I was able to go back in time, knowing what I know now, what would I do then? And then you frame whatever it is that you're selling them as a thing that you would do back then that would make the results come quicker. Side note. We didn't, Layla first got started, we didn't have any doubt that we weren't going to be successful because there was no option. It was like, oh, if we don't do well in this, we're not going to be able to survive. We're not going to be able, we weren't going back to jobs. Like, I didn't graduate, well, I graduated high school, but I hated school.
Barely.
Layla dropped out, so it wasn't like we had these thriving educations to have. It's that back against the wall, I'll do this no matter what mentality. But kind of on the technical side, going back 5 years, knowing that we know now, I would have started paid advertising a lot sooner, just to scale quicker. But we kind of did it the right way, and that's why we were able to make 6 figures our first year and a bit into it, because we just focused on hammering content, video, social media, and we kind of knew by instinct that by hammering video and social media, it was going to be the fastest, most efficient way for us to communicate with our prospects, and at the same time, it was the easiest way for them to learn to like us and love us from our personality marketing. So we were able to generate results that marketers who are generating 100,000 or have 100,000 leads in their list were generating. We were doing that when we had 8,000 leads. We were doing that at 10, 15 leads a day. Why? Because the quality of lead coming through our funnel was way higher, because we were utilizing video and different platforms that taught our prospects about us and where we came from, what we were all about, before they even opted in. So going back 5 years from now, I would say to myself, do more video, do more social media, and start paid quicker. What about you, babe?
I think I would definitely tell myself to be a little bit more organized.
Yeah, good call.
You know, everything from
Jesus.
everything from your laptop or hard drive and your video files and your PDFs and your funnels and your lead lists and your keyword list. Like, just be organized.
That's a very good tip.
Because it's
shit
easy
hits the fan if you're not. Oh my god.
And trying to correct bad habits is way more difficult than creating good ones from the beginning. So if you can utilize Google, utilize your documents, your Dropbox, your hard drive, so your computer, you know, is not melting every time that you're on a hangout. You know, take care of your documents.
That's a very good
and
point.
Your files and your swipe. And
it just makes it easier. Like, case in point, if you're building a page out, or if you're creating content and you need images, or you need a picture of a testimonial, or a little bit of a story that you read.
A picture of you on stage from Chicago that you can't freaking find. And
so having a nice, organized Lawrence Tam style database of everything organized neatly, it takes you 5 minutes to do that. Being like us, and we're so right-hand side of the brain, our shit's everywhere. It takes us much longer to do because we have to go and find it, and then we forgot where it was, so we have to go and find it even more. And it's the same thing with passwords, right? For password websites, you got 10,000 websites that you log into a day. And then Justin Veringia, like maybe 6 or 7 months ago, told us about this on $10 a year called RoboForm. And then it goes on your browser, and it saves every single login. Just go to this little toolbar. Let me show you right now. I'll screen share. So all we have to do is go to this little toolbar, click logins. It brings up a list of all of our logins, and then all we would have to do is click it, and it would bring us straight to the site and log us in without us doing anything, just by clicking that button. So if you want to save many hours of heartache, of emotion, of fighting, RoboForm is your pal.
Yeah, so if I could go time machine, you know, there's lots of things that I would tell, like, my younger self. I would go back further. I would go back to, like, 13 Layla. She really needed to hear from me. But if I could go back to starting the business and starting my online marketing career, definitely be more organized, Layla. Get it together.
Well, you can tonight by being a mess.
Well, thank you so much. Those are great tips. We appreciate it, you being on and sharing all of this with us so much. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is what it's all about. This community, you know, all of these people with different stories, different experiences, different value to bring to the table, and, you know, learning how to express that through our blogs, through our videos, through our YouTube, the internet. It really is like a superpower. You know, Toby and I were talking about this today, that some of the things we know kind of make us superhuman to some people. You know, like YouTube ads and Google Hangouts. My dad's like, "What's a Google Hangout?" Like, Dad, it's like a serious business. You don't know what a Google Hangout is. So, you know, it really does put you on a different sort of level, and you people that are watching this right now on the blog, or this is stuff that you need to plug into. You need to plug into these systems and to these trainings so that you can understand how to take your business to the next level, because the level that it's at right now is just not cutting it these days. You got to step up your game.
So, 3 people. Right now, you're person number 1 who's already involved in whatever it is that we're promoting here, whether it be iPass or Empower, and you're already involved, but you're not getting the results you want. So it's time to step the game up. It's time to 10x your situation. It's time for you to go deep within and focus on what it is that you really want, and then go out there and get it. All the excuses aside, put all the bullshit aside of, oh, I can't do this because I'm here, I can't do that because I'm that. Just forget about all that and just focus about what you do in your downtime. Number 2 person is someone that's not involved yet, that's checked out this information before and hasn't pulled the trigger yet. And you need to go in and say, well, why haven't I signed up and started taking action yet? What am I actually focusing on? And 9 times out of 10, fear-based emotion that's not even real. It's your head making it up. Can I do this? Can I afford it? I can't afford it. Where am I going to get the money from? Do I even have time to do it? All these things you're making up in your head are right now holding you back from the life that you actually want. The reason you've been on, the reason that you've destined to do something great by signing up with the person that invited you here is the first step for you to do that. Or you're person number 3 that's never seen anything online before. They've never even known about an online business before. They just have to stumble upon this link on YouTube somewhere like crazy.
And then they cracked up and they got interested in his accent and they stuck around because we were kind of funny looking.
It made a lot of sense.
We know you're out there.
Yeah, for sure. And now you're saying to yourself the whole time, wow, I can't believe I'm here, because the other day I was just thinking about how I wanted to make money from the internet or from home and do something different, and now you're here. Go with your gut. It's the universe telling you you're supposed to be here. This is right for you. So from Layla and I, going from the basement of a bar to making multiple 7 figures from the internet over 5.5 years.
Your results will vary.
Yeah, your results will vary. We're not telling you can sign up and just make $1 gazillion. That's ridiculous. We don't know what you'll do. But from us, with a hand on our heart, sign up with the person that invited you here. Go all out, play all out, go all in. Watch how amazing your life will become. If you focus for 90 days on one strategy, you will start the momentum to get to the life that you want to be. If I had a microphone, I would drop it
Guys, thank you so much. Another Power Couple, and thank you for everyone who joined us either live or on the replay. And everybody, have a good night.
Take care.
Take care.
Yeah.